When you're stuck in one place for a long time, usually in the confines of your own home or a work-to-house routine, time tends to just drag on until you look up and wonder where it's gone. Connection is so important. To people, friends, nature, even just the feeling of salty air on your face is enough to free you. Inspiration has been so hard to come by. Our world has never felt so closed and controlled, and with good reason. So when the opportunity arose to get back out there and shoot our first travel piece in the last 2 years, we jumped on it. It's like we've been walking all year waiting for the right moment to start sprinting towards something. Not necessarily known, but just there, in front of us, waiting to be discovered.
We see pros at traveling, and now Dustin's messing everything up. So as you can tell, we haven't done this in a while.
As restrictions ease up, so do travel requirements. Every region has different rules, and it's important to check with your destinations first. It's not necessarily difficult to travel now, but more so confusing and tedious, making sure you have the right passes and the proper documentation. Wherever you end up going, just follow the guidelines and you should be fine. We landed in Legazpi City in Albay. Bicol is a region I can keep visiting, with its wide coasts, beautiful food from Ngga, surf in Sorsogon, the shy Mount Mayon in Albay, and friendly people. It is one of our most interesting stops you can make in the country. While we were going around, a lot of our favorite places were under lockdown, so we had to go straight towards our destination.
When's the last time you saw one of these? You ready?
It's worse.
Start of a good trip.
Start of a good trip.
Woo! How do you know the lyrics in this song? So we've been driving now for about an hour and a half, and it just started pouring out of nowhere. And for our first time out, that's not really a good sign. But I feel like the clouds are starting to push out this way, so hopefully for the rest of the trip, we get some nice weather, because it's gonna be really bad if we don't. We won't be able to shoot much. So we're almost at Bulan. Bulan is gonna be our jump off point to Ticau Island. I've never been there. There isn't much about it online, so I'm really excited to see what we can discover. And yeah, I'm just ready for an adventure. Sketchy! What up?
Ticau Island in Masbate, a province known for its yearly rodeo, but also for being one of the oldest settlements in the country, is located at the center of the archipelago. It was once a major anchorage point for the Manila to Acapulco trade galleons.
So that was actually much longer than what I expected. We left Manila at 9 a.m. It's now almost 4 p.m. So that's a really long travel day. It's about 7 hours. But we finally made it to Ticau, and it looks like we're alone here.
Today, Ticau is still shrouded in mystery. From whispers of spiritual tales to unruly politics and ancient archaeological finds, not much is known about this sparsely populated island, and it doesn't feature prominently on the tourism map. But maybe it should. From one of the most impressive waterfalls that plunges into the ocean worldwide to manta ray conservation efforts, kilometers of unexplored inland adventures, freshwater holes, and a large mangrove park to the south, it really is made for people who love discovering new experiences. I still find it so strange to be in such a beautiful place and it being absolutely empty. We were talking to the resort managers and they were saying that pre-pandemic this place was full of people, it was teeming with life. This island was really coming up as a tourist destination. It wasn't really big or on the map yet. So it does feel very privileged and it does feel very special that we get to spend some time here. Especially with everything that's going on. So we're starting bright and early, the sun isn't even up yet, and I can't wait to see what the day has in store for us.
Here we are, on the edge of mystery, we long for a life of new discovery. Focus our eyes on the journey, stepping into the unknown.
Not lucky with weather this trip. It's starting to rain a little bit. I was walking up this little creek and people were showering as I was going up, so I feel like this is where people shower and I think it's the right time. It's around 7 a.m. So over there they were washing their clothes and showering and brushing their teeth, and that's exactly where they do things. So I found my little own private spa over here, so I'm gonna dip in because I haven't showered yet. Woo, cool. Natural baths are good for the soul. I'm gonna stay here a couple of minutes before I keep working. We want to try to experiment with lots of ingredients, and they told us that around this area they pick up and dig up some snails, which is perfect. So we're gonna go try and harvest a few so that we can cook some later.
I've eaten escargot my whole life, but I've actually never gone out and harvested some. Our guides here wanted to show us some of their local delicacies, and this tree snail happens to be one of them.
Sketchier than I expected.
This looks fairly easy. I mean, they don't put up much of a fight.
So what he's actually looking for, I thought the snails were going to be buried underground, but they're actually, he keeps looking at the trees, so I think he probably finds them like in the crevices of the trees.
However, after about 40 minutes of searching and being attacked by fire ants,
yeah, these ones, like an oyster. Fire ants.
Oh no.
we only managed to catch about 3 pieces, so you can imagine how long it takes to feed a few people. We met a local that everyone said was the best at spotting and catching snails. He proudly showed us his collections of snails caught over the last year, and I can only imagine how many hours he spent walking around these hills.
Ow. City boy in the mountains. Tiring. Because of the rain, it's too muddy to ride the bike, so we gotta walk it.
After that little muddy mishap, we jumped on a boat and braved through some rough water to go 2 hours all the way to the north. I didn't really know what to expect from Catandayagan Falls, since you really need to visit it at the right time, but because we had so much rain, it meant that it was full. It looked really small at first, and as we approached it, its scale really dawned on us. It's about 20 meters high, and the water just falls heavily into the deep sea. Not too far, you can find the Halea Nature Park, which has a beautiful cove and has a breeding area for baby sharks as well as other animals running about. Ticau has a strong fishing culture, and almost everyone we met fished. The local markets showcased the variety and richness of the waters of the Ticau Pass and could only mean that we could expect really interesting eats as well.
That was a really eventful day. I feel like we barely scratched the surface. I think when we were on the boat, we realized how huge this island is, and we have a couple of days left to really explore it. So I'm really excited what else we're gonna be able to see. We're shooting simultaneous videos so that we can really make the most out of our trip here. One surprise highlight, I have to admit, is the food. The food we've been having, especially at this resort we're staying, has been absolutely amazing. The first one, which for me is really interesting, is the stingray. So they've already kind of shredded it for us, and this is the first time I see anything like this in the Philippines. I usually get it kind of like seared, and it still has the shape of a stingray, but this is like flaked. There's some malunggay in there, some vinegar, some ginger. There's really the flavors of Bicol, and I think there's probably gata there. I taste some gata as well. These I've always loved. They call them saang, spider shells, one of my favorite. These are almost sweet. They're really briny like the sea. And then finally, it wouldn't be a trip to this region without anything ginataang. So good, so creamy, so comforting. So after this, we're gonna call it a night. Tomorrow we have another big day. I'm gonna be off diving, hopefully to see some manta rays. But I don't wanna say it now because I don't wanna jinx it.
So once we jump in here, just grip all the way sand area or rock. Okay? So rubble, sand area. So it's really hard to find the rock. Even then. Okay. So I will tell you if like 5 minutes before takeoff.
Okay. What's your signal for setting it up?
Or you can.
Can you have that?
Oh, no, not like this. So low in air.
Sorry.
Right? Okay.
A little rusty here. Okay, I'll show you this good. So this is the mantle, literally between Ticau Island and Bulan. So in the middle of the ocean. The shallowest point here is 14 meters, which is already pretty deep. And it's a manta ray cleaning station, which means they come and go. There's no real season for it. From time to time you'll have sharks, but that's like March and April. But any time of the year you can see mantas, but it's nature. So you still always have a 50-50% chance. Usually people stay here, stay multiple days to be able to have a guarantee to see a couple of mantas. You have one day, you have one dive. Let's hope we make it count. But this looks pretty awesome. It's like really a deep ocean dive and a multiple cleaning stations. So we'll try our luck here. It's a drift dive, so we'll be going with the current. Yeah, I'm gonna be shooting. Let's see what we can get.
Lately I've been dreaming that I saw you right as you were leaving. But what if I caught you? And what if we danced? And what if I held you? What if dreams could lie? Well, then I'd have you. Then I'd have you.
Nothing.
Another dive.
Still nothing. Oh. That sucks. Just came back from the boat. We woke up early this morning to go dive the Manta Bowl, which is quite famous here. It's in between Ticau Island and Sorsogon. It's in the middle of the ocean. It's like this underwater mountain from 14 meters all the way down to 25 meters before dropping off into the abyss. And it's really famous for manta rays and white sharks, but usually in March and April, manta rays don't really have a season. They come and go as they please, and they use this as a cleaning station. The chances of you getting to see a manta ray is usually 50-50, so 50%. We did 2 dives, and unfortunately we saw 0, which is 0%. But the dive master told us he went 2 days ago and saw about 6 mantas on 2 dives, which is pretty cool. I guess we just weren't as lucky, but I'm a little disappointed, but it's also really hard to be disappointed because that's kind of why you dive, is because of that uncertainty of what you're gonna see versus going to an aquarium and knowing exactly what you'll see. So it's hard to be disappointed, and it was still really relaxing and fun to do. To recap our trip on Ticau Island, I thought it'd be really cool to cook something. I mean, you can't really choose a more perfect backdrop and setting. And yes, this trip had some little bumps on the road in terms of the weather and not being able to see certain things, but honestly, it felt so good just being outside again. And cooking outside is just another privilege that I really, really love doing, and I haven't been able to do in a while. I wanted to prepare some dishes that were kind of inspired by all the local things that we've tasted and tried. One of the ones that I really wanted to try were these little guys that we harvested up in the forest. We were able to get about 15 here. My plan with this is to cook it with some coconut milk, just like how the locals said that they prepare it. I'm gonna be making a very simple maya fish. With this, I'll be making a very quick coconut milk sauce. It's gonna be really delicious. And then I'll make a nice sambal noodle dish. When you're at the beach or on an island, it's all about simple ingredients and put together in very simple ways, and that's what makes the dish delicious. This whole trip was made possible thanks to Sasa. They're from Indonesia. If you haven't heard of them, they have some of the best condiments and products out there for your home pantries or for the beach. Today I'm using their coconut cream as well as their sambal. So it's kind of like a bagoong, like shrimp paste, but spicy. We're gonna be working on coal, so please be patient with us because this takes a while to cook. So the first thing we're gonna do, score the skin, almost hitting the bone. This will just help cook much faster. And then this is gonna go on low coals until all the way cooked. To this, just some salt, as well as some oil. Probably the simplest way to cook fish and probably the best way to cook fish. And then all this goes onto the grill. Next, for our snails. We have this pan here. Add in some hot water. The first thing you want to do here is boil the snails, so this kind of cleans them. A bit of salt and some black pepper, and that goes onto the grill. Now that everything is on the grill, we can already start our sauces. So one that's going to be really simple and really quick to do. So I'm going to chop up some red onions. Guys, it's island cooking, it's normal. Like, things don't fit where they're supposed to fit. We make do with what we have. That's the beauty of it. Some ginger. Like, I'm cutting things with a bread knife. That's where we are. Thinly sliced. And some garlic, obviously. So my idea here is I want to make a nice coconut-based sauce that I'm going to be using not only for the snails, but also for the fish. So it's going to be garlic, ginger, onions, and then to that we're going to be adding simple stuff like salt, pepper, chilies, and then our Sasa coconut cream as well. And then to give it a nice, really beautiful color, a little bit of tomato paste, or even a little bit of sambal just to give it a nice red color and a little bit more spice if you want it. Also, I thought it'd be fun to make kind of like a sweet, spicy noodle using some local canton noodles. I'm gonna chop up some carrots, cook that as well with some ginger, some garlic, and some onions. And then we're gonna make like a nice sambal sweet soy sauce. I don't know if you've tried this before, but it is so delicious and really spicy. So start with like half a teaspoon. And to that, we're gonna add like a sweet soy sauce that's gonna make our noodles really nice and syrupy and slurpy. And that's gonna pair perfectly with both the snails and the fish. So these have been boiling for about 20 minutes now, and all we're gonna do is pick them out. So you can see they're still like really slimy inside. We don't have toothpicks. Guys, at the beach, when you're cooking, it's all about figuring things out as you go. Bam! So the idea here is to remove, there's no prettier way to say this, but the shit sack. And then you've got a nice clean escargot. So we'll do a couple more and then we're gonna rub this in salt to remove the slime. Once these are all nice and clean, we're gonna grab them and just add everything into our pan here. And all that's gonna heat up nicely over the fire. Now that our fish is ready, we can go ahead and just smear our sauce on it. You serve this with some calamansi or anything that you really have for some acidity and some brightening. Snails are ready. That goes onto our plate. And as you can see behind me, we're starting to lose light. It's starting to get dark, so this is perfect timing for dinner. If you want to add some more chili, Sasa terasi sambal is no joke. It tastes like a sweet bagoong, but really spicy. Delicious. Everything is done. Now all we have to do is taste. I'm gonna start with this pancit right here. That's such a comforting bowl of food. So good. Now let's try la pièce de résistance, the snails. Get one chunky one. So very clean tasting, and that coconut milk brings so much flavor to the dish. And that same sauce on the fish. We're looking for that perfect flakiness, gorgeously cooked, low on the grill. These Sasa products should really be part of your pantry. I just love how handy they are and very easy to use. The coconut cream has a lot of omega-3s and 6s, so it's actually really healthy, and some fiber in there as well for you. With Sasa, you're always guaranteed excellent quality and excellent flavor. I think I'm totally finished this pancit noodle. That's pretty much it. This was a very interesting trip, but it's not over yet. We're still on Ticau Island. We're gonna have a second episode that'll be coming out really soon where we go discover the national park around here, and that's gonna be very special. So for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.